Can you retire at 60 in the UK with £400,000? It's a question a lot of people quietly ask when retirement starts to feel close. And the frustrating answer is that it depends less on the headline number and more on what happens in the years before the state pension kicks in. So let's walk through this properly using simple maths and no clever assumptions. You reach 60 with £500,000 in a pension or drawdown pot. Now, a common reference point people use is the 4% rule. And what the 4% rule is, that of your total pension pot, if you withdraw 4% per year, this pension should last 30 years. And I say should, it's down to market conditions where they go up or down. Now, invariably, you would, whatever's left after the first year, draw 4% off that. Whatever's left after the next year, 4% off that. But we're using very simplistic terms here and just going, it'll be 4% of that headline figure. So 4% of £400,000 will give you £20,000 a year before tax. Now that's £20,000 a year income until state pension cuts in at 67. So for 7 years, you're relying entirely on your personal pension. Now, here's a part that often gets skipped over. If you're drawing £20,000 a year for 7 years, that's taking £140,000 out of your pension pot. So by the time you hit 67, your pension pot would be £360,000. Again, I say market conditions go up or down. So there's nothing dramatic or unusual happening here. This is at the cost of bridging the gap to state pension age. So by the time you reach 67, you've dropped that £140,000. That's not because of lifestyle spending emergencies or bad decisions. It's simply the maths of time. So let's stay consistent and say you keep your withdrawal rate at £20,000 a year when you hit 67. At this point, you'll now get your state pension, which is currently around about £11,500. So you're now looking at £31,500 drawing down before taxes. That's £20,000 of your personal pension pot and £11,500 state pension. So £31,500 a year. Now, for some people, that's enough. For others, it's noticeably tighter than what they anticipated. And this is where many people start to feel the plan wobble. People often ask at this point, what about investment growth? What if markets do well? What if they crash? Well, as I've said, I've deliberately not included any market gains or losses. Not because markets don't matter, but because they can go either way. And no one can forecast which way the markets are going to go. Otherwise, we'd all be very rich. So this is a base case illustration, not a forecast. Real life could improve this picture. It could also make early withdrawals hurt far more. The key point is understanding the structure, not trying to predict returns. Now here's where things get really interesting. If instead of retiring at 60 you work one more year, you'll withdraw £20,000 less from your pension pot. So your pot stays larger for longer and you shorten the gap to state pension. Not only that, if you're putting into your pension, a personal pension, every year, particularly from income, that gives you another year adding into your income rather than withdrawing it. So you almost get your 2-for-1 deal. Work 2 more years and that effect compounds again, making it almost like a 4-year gain. And this is why retirement often feels close, but it's still out of reach. The number might be there, but the timing isn't quite lining up yet. One important UK specific detail that's often missed as well. Once you start drawing flexibly from a pension, your ability to put meaningful money back in becomes restricted. So the decision to start withdrawing isn't just about your income, it changes how your pension behaves going forward. And that's another reason people hesitate when the maths looks almost there. So rounding back on the question, can you retire at 60 with £500,000 in the UK? Yes, if your spending fits that structure. No, if the early years drain the pot too quickly. The number alone doesn't decide it. The 7-year bridge does. Now, if you want, I can run the same numbers for different ages or pot sizes, or show exactly what 1 or 2 extra working years can changes for people. Let me know if you want one of those scenarios, and it would actually help.